A Justice Matters follower has told how she's been trying to get her mortgage papers from the NAB, but they won't give them to her. Now, she's lodged a complaint with the Australian Financial Complaints Authority, or AFCA, which is supposed to provide a fair and independent resolution to financial complaints, but they haven't been able to help. You know, this kind of thing is happening more and more. As organisations realise there's nothing much the public can do, they become more and more unscrupulous. So if you want to make a difference, then follow us, because the more supporters we have, the more impact we'll have. You know, we will get this done. We just have to persevere, have some patience, and always remember, justice matters. A lawyer told me the reason why he believes the police think it's okay to weaponise the law and victimise innocent members of the public. And his logic sounds about right. And what he said was that the police are legally authorised to put themselves above the laws that the rest of us have to follow all the time. They can speed over the speed limit. They can assault people to make an arrest. They can use wiretaps. I mean, the list goes on. They're so used to being above the law that the corrupt cops think they can do it whenever they like. Now, when they do, the senior officers carry out corrupt investigations to cover up for them. Now, these senior cops are the ones we need to prosecute first because they enable the abuse. If senior officers didn't cover up misconduct, frontline officers would be less likely to do it, right? So if you want to help, all you have to do is follow us, because the more followers we have, the more impact we'll have. You know, we will get this done. All we need is to persevere, have a little patience, and always remember, justice matters. We often get comments saying that it's too hard to get rid of the corrupt cops and politicians, and they're right as things stand. But it isn't difficult if we change things up. You know, if you fight a shark in the water, it will eat you alive. But if you fight it on the sand, you'll kick the shit out of it. So we're going to fight in the sand. There's one thing that absolutely terrifies dodgy cops and politicians, even prosecutors and judges, and that's public awareness. So the more followers we have, the more authority we'll have. And the more authority we have, the more influence we'll have. And the more influence we have, the more followers we'll have, which will give us even more authority so we can have even more influence. We're only at the beginning now, but if we persevere and have some patience, we'll get this done. So please follow us and get your friends to follow us, because together we're unstoppable. Australian taxpayers are set to fork out $450 million on 2 luxury private jets for use by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, the Governor-General, and senior ministers. The luxury jets will be fitted with sleeping quarters, meeting facilities, and business class seats for passengers. That must be heartwarming news to the millions of Australians who are struggling to make ends meet, because it's their money that's being used to pay for the jets. Sydney radio host Ben Fordham reported that the Defence Minister Richard Marles ordered his department about a year ago to no longer publish the details of private jet trips taken by our politicians, which seems a bit self-serving since Marles himself was slammed for spending $274,000 on VIP flights in the space of just 3 months. But he isn't alone. Albanese is reported to have spent almost $1 million in the 3 months to September 30, 2023. And Foreign Minister Penny Wong spent more than $233,000. You know, it's staggering how brazen and self-serving these politicians are. Discussions are taking place within the New South Wales state government about whether to introduce a separate domestic violence court in a potential bid to reduce pressure on the court system. Domestic and family matters now comprise about 60% of the matters heard in New South Wales courts, so it seems like a good idea. But what definitely should happen urgently are reforms around how apprehension orders are handled, because the process at the moment is severely prejudicial and punitive. In other words, it causes too many innocent people to suffer. What should happen is that apprehension orders should be heard by legal professionals who are experienced at dealing with domestic violence matters. Lawyers shouldn't be required or allowed. Each party should be able to state their case separately from one another if they feel threatened. This one simple thing would eliminate so much of the pain and suffering around domestic violence. In documents obtained under Freedom of Information, one of Australia's most senior police officers expressed concern because Australian citizens claimed that the police are public servants and that public buildings belong to the people. It's mind-boggling that Australian police officers don't think of themselves as public servants, but in practical terms, they're probably not. We've let the police do things their own way for so long that accountability to the public is pretty much non-existent. It was probably never there to begin with. I mean, it's often said that the most corrupt settlers weren't the convicts, it was the police officers. But the power of social media is a game changer because now we can make sure the police are held to account. So please hit the follow button because we will get this done. All we need is to persevere, have a little patience, and always remember justice matters.